الحمد لله رب العالمين العاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين اللهم صل على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تمسك بسنته إلى يوم الدين ثم أما بعد يا مرحبا بكم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته يا مرحبا. Welcome you to another episode of Everyday Sunnah. In today's episode, inshallah ta'ala, we want to talk about something that is not spoken about a lot from what I understand and from what I know, but it's something that we need to have good understanding of it and something that we should really reflect on implementing bithnillahi ta'ala, as we'll come to see. And that is that which comes in the hadith an Aisha radiyallahu ta'ala anha عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أنه قال, that the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, he said, الرضاعة تحرم ما تحرم الولادة, that breastfeeding or suckling, then it will render as being impermissible the same as that which will occur from birth, meaning that the ties of kinship, they will be established through suckling, through breastfeeding. And that which is impermissible as far as lineage, it will also be impermissible due to suckling and due to breastfeeding. Naam. This hadith akhrajahu al-Bukhari wa Muslim. This hadith is mutafiqun alayh. This hadith is mutafiqun alayh. قال فضيلة الشيخ العلامة الشيخ عبد المحسن العباد البدر حفظه الله تعالى, he mentions, he says, جاء في القرآن الكريم تحريم الأمهات المرضعات. He says it comes inside of the noble Qur'an the prohibition of marrying your mothers from suckling, those women who have suckled you. نعم. والأخوات من الرضاعة, and also your siblings from suckling. نعم. It's not permissible for you to marry any of your mothers from suckling or your siblings from suckling, just like it's impermissible for you to marry your mother or to marry your sister. نعم. Or for a woman, just like it's permissible for you to marry your brother. Right? And also it's permissible for you to marry your father. So inshallah ta'ala we'll come to see as relates to the father or the husband of the woman who suckled children and his ruling. Allah Ta'ala, he says, as the Shaykh goes on to mention, he says that Allah Ta'ala, he has made impermissible the marrying of your mothers who have suckled you, or the women who have suckled you, your suckling mothers, and also from your siblings from suckling, from breastfeeding. And Allah Ta'ala's statement, as can be found in Surah An-Nisa, in his verse 23. Allah Ta'ala, he says, وَأُمَّهَاتُكُمْ, and your mothers, الَّتِي أَرُضَعْنَاكُمْ, who have suckled you. وَأَخَوَاتُكُمْ مِنَ الرَّضَاعَةِ, and your siblings from suckling. نعم, your suckling brothers and sisters. نعم. وجاءت السنة بهذا الحديث وما في معناه بأن الرضاعة تحرم ما تحرم الولادة. So that comes in this hadith, it comes in the sunnah, this hadith, and also that which comes with the same meaning, those narrations that come bearing similar meanings that make it impermissible to, or that make the suckling, it will render impermissible those who blood relations will render impermissible. نعم. فكل ما حرم بالنسب يحرم بالرضاعة مثله. So everything that is impermissible due to lineage, due to relations, نعم, due to lineage, then is also impermissible due to suckling and due to breastfeeding. Now, meaning that what? Meaning that a woman, she breastfeeds a child that she did not give birth to. So I want this to be understood. Okay. على كل حال, the Shaykh goes on and he says, فإذا رتضع, or he says, فإذا رتضع, when a woman suckles طفل, any child. Now, so when a child it is suckled, so when a child suckles min imra'atin, this is what it means. So when a child suckles from a woman, صارت أمًا له من الرضاعة, she will become his mother from breastfeeding or from suckling. So when a child suckles, when a baby suckles from a woman, then that woman, she will become his mother from suckling. وَصَارَ أَبُوهَا وَأَجْدَادُهَا أَبَاءً لَهُ مِنَ الرِّضَاعَةِ. And also her father and her grandfathers, all the way up, if they're still alive, they will also be his father from suckling. They will also be his father from suckling. وَأُمُّهَا وَجَدَّاتُهَا وَأُمُّهَاتٍ لَهُ يعني أُمُّهَاتٍ لَهُ مِنَ الرَّضَاعَةِ. And her mother and her grandmother, meaning her mother, her mother's mother, so on and so forth, all the way up, then they will all be his mother and his grandmothers from suckling. Naam, or her grandmothers from suckling. وإخوانها أخوالا له من الرضاعة. And her brothers will become maternal uncles of his due to suckling. وأخواتها خالات له من الرضاعة. And her sisters will become his maternal aunts due to suckling. وأولادها سواء كانوا من زوج واحد أو أزواج إخوة له من الرضاعة. And her children, or rather that is from one husband or from another, from one husband or from other husband, then they will all be what? Her brothers from رضاعة, or they will be their siblings from suckling. نعم. وأيضا also يكون زوج المرأة مرضعة الذي رضع من لبنه أبا له من الرضاعة. And also her husband, who the child suckled via the milk that belongs unto him, because the milk in the breast, it belongs to the fathers. Naam. So if a child suckles from the milk of a particular man, from a husband, then he becomes his father from رضاعة, from suckling. وأيضا يكون زوج عفوا, the Shaykh Ghazali says, وأبوه وأجداده أباء له من رضاعة. And his father, and also his father and his father's father, so on and so forth. Now, all of them become grandparents, fathers, and grandfathers unto him from suckling. وأمه وجداته وأمهات يعني أمهات له من الرضاعة. And his mother, and likewise his mother's mother, and all of the grandmothers on his side, now the paternal grandmothers, then they all become what? His grandmothers due to suckling. وإخوانه أخوات يعني أخوات وأخواته أعماما وعمات له من الرضاعة. And his brothers and his sisters now will become the paternal aunts and uncles of this baby due to what? Due to suckling. وأولاده من زوجات متعددات إخوة له من الرضاعة. And his children, even from multiple wives, نعم, which is encouraged. What? Polygyny is encouraged. Okay, especially for Muslim minorities, and inshallah ta'ala we'll come back and we'll look at this, right? But it's very much so what? Encouraged due to our situations and of our weak family ties as far as Islamically. Naam. Anyway, we'll come back. So all of those children, the children of this man, and they will be his brothers and sisters from suckling. Naam. وَزَوْجَاتُهُ زَوْجَاتٍ أَبٍ لَهُ مِنَ الرَّضَاعَةِ. And all of his wives, they will be like his mother. They will be like the wives of his father due to what? Due to suckling. وَهَكَذَا كُلُّ مَا حَرَّمُوا مِنَ النَّسَبِ فَإِنَّهُ يَحْرُمُ مَا يُمَاثِلُهُ مِنَ الرَّضَاعَةِ. And that everything that is impermissible due to blood lineage or due to lineage, then it will be impermissible for that individual due to suckling. Meaning that everything that is impermissible, those individuals who are impermissible for you to marry them due to blood relation, then likewise they will be impermissible to marry them due to suckling. Now, so now, before getting into what will qualify and what will render, or the amount of suckling that will render an individual to be, to become like blood family, right? I want to make this statement, and that is that this is something that I think that living here in the West, and those of us who have accepted Islam, those of us who may be the only Muslims in one's family, right? So now we find ourselves in a situation where you would marry a person who's Muslim, obviously, and now it's just you and them as Muslims. They may also come from a family who they're the only Muslims in their family. So it's now only you two. All of the aunts, all of the uncles, the grandparents, the parents, so on and so forth, the cousins, right? All of them are non-Muslims. They're the only two Muslims. And then you have children. So now it's just you two and your children. That's it. And then you may have other couples in a similar situation where they're the only Muslims in their family, just their spouses and their children, then that's it. We know the perils of life, and we know that sometimes you need family support. And we know that there are situations where Muslims, they get disowned by their family because they have accepted Islam. So you need you need a family. So what is a way that you can have a family that is just like blood family? Is by way of suckling. So it's something to think about. You have to have some forethought, okay? Because you have to think. You have this daughter, and we find this a lot. We find this a lot. Ya subhanallah. Sisters will come to the masjid and they will say, I need a wakil because no one in my family is a Muslim. I need wakil because no one in my family is a Muslim. They have no relative is a Muslim, which means that without being married, she has no relative to take her to Hajj. She has no mahram to take her to Hajj. Ya subhanallah. She has no mahram to take her to Hajj. She has no maharim. She has no male relatives who is impermissible for them to marry her. She has none. So now I want you to reflect on this. Do you really want to put your daughter in this potential situation? Do you really want to put your daughter in a situation that, may Allah Ta'ala give us all health and safety, if something were to happen to her brothers, she's left in that situation with no family support? It's something for us to really think about and to reflect on, and to think in a more communal way, that we have to start building what true communities now. And if you come from a situation that it is like this, you have this type of vulnerability as relates to a family structure, then a way to alleviate that is by way of what? Is by way of suckling other people's children. Now, of course, good people, right? People who are good, people who, like this, but to suckle their children. So now something would happen. You have a few sons also from suckling, and you have your sons. Or you may be in a situation where Allah Ta'ala bless you with nothing but girls. So now you have your girls, and at least you have sons from suckling, so on and so forth. Now, so these are just things to think about and things to consider, especially living here in a situation where we may be the only Muslims in our family. But I want you to reflect on everything that was aforementioned. That if you suckle from a woman, now that becomes your mother from suckling. Her parents are now like your parents, grandparents from suckling, so on and so forth. Same with the father, the husband, like this all the way down. All of the aunts and the uncles, all of the children now become your siblings. So now overnight you have increased. You may have doubled, tripled, maybe even quadrupled the amount of family members, the amount of maharim, because now you have all these aunts and uncles that are Muslim, right? Now you have all these grandparents and so on and so forth. And if not, then at least you have what? At least you have the woman, you have her father, you have her husband, and then their children. As now, at least now you have doubled it, right? Now you have doubled it. So now you have another, more Muslim family. I mean, all family, you understand? But you have more maharim. I want that to be understood. So really, something to think about. It's just some food for thought, inshallah ta'ala. The Sheikh, he goes on and he says, الرضاع الذي يكون به التحريم ما بلغ 5 رضعات فأكثر. And that which suckling that will render a person to be like blood family, for lack of a better term, right? That it will be for the individual to suckle 5 times. An individual will suckle, the baby will suckle 5 times to their full. Meaning they will eat and eat and eat and eat until they don't want to eat anymore. They will, they turn away, then they're done, they're full. Now, so if this happens 5 times, then that's it. That individual, that's your child from suckling. Now, وَكَانَ فِي الْحَوْلَيْنِ, and it has to be within the first 2 years of life. It has to be within the first 2 years of life. Now, and it's very clear, very strict rules for eligibility for this. It has to be in the first 2 years of life, and it has to be for 5 times. Now, it has to be for 5 times the first 2 years of life. So Shaykh, he says, فَإِن نَقُصَ عَنِ الْخَمْسِ فَإِنَّهُ لَا يَحْصُلُ بِهِ التَّحْرِيمِ And if it is less than 5 times, then you will not reach the prohibition. It will not be like a blood relative, or it will not be a relative via suckling. وَكَمَا أَنَّ الرَّضَاعَ الْكَبِيرِ لَا يَحْصُلُ بِهِ التَّحْرِيمِ Likewise, to suckle a person who is big, who is older than 2 years old, it will not make that person a relative via suckling. Okay? وما جاء الشيخ mentioned وما جاء في قصة سالم مولى أبي حذيفة أخرجه مسلم فهو مقصور عليه لا يتعداه إلى غيره. He said, and that which comes in the story or in the incident or situation that had happened with Salim Mawla Abi Hudhayfa, that which has been collected by Muslim, then this was a situation that is particular unto them, it's restricted to him, and it does not go beyond him to others. So that's a special case that was only for him, because he was eligible, he was made to be a family member by suckling well after the age of 2. Now, but that's something that is particular unto him. That is particular unto him. And of course, there's ikhtilaf from the scholars as it relates to this particular issue. We have some from the scholars, those who say that if the situation matches the situation, is very similar to it, then they will take the same ruling. Ala kulli hal, from a standpoint of better be safe than sorry, then what? Then anything that is over 2 years will not make you eligible, and this was just a special case. This was just a special case. Now, so if you may find it, you didn't know it was a special case. It does not go beyond other than that. وَمِمَّا يُوَضِّحُ, and also from another standpoint, that which will make it clear that الرضاع الكبير لا يعتبر, that to suckle someone who was old is not given any consideration. نعم لأنه لا يحصل به التغذية, because it's not nourishing for him. It's not going to fill him up. It's not going to fill him up. نعم. And also, right, which shows us that that this concept, you drink, 5 amounts, whatever, of the milk, and that which is equivalent now will make you haram, because now you're like a relative. Now you become from the maharim. Now, he said also, when we understand that this is not, this will not qualify. Okay, this will not qualify. وَأَنَّ إِمْكَانَ كُلُّ امْرَأَةٍ, because if this was the case, and every woman تريد أن تتخلص من زوجها, who wanted to get rid of her husband, she's done with him. She I don't want him no more. I'm done with him. I'm sick of him. That's it. Then what would she do? And تحلب في كأس من ثديها, that she would now milk, take the milk from her breast and pump it into a container, ما يبلغ 5 رضعات فأكثر, that which will be equal in amount to 5 feedings or more. ثم تسقيه زوجها وهو لا يشعر, and then she slips it to her husband. She slip it to him, right? And then he don't know. She slips it to him while he is unaware. وتقول له, and then she says unto him, بعد ذلك أنا لا أحل لك, I'm not permissible for you. لأنك ابني من رضاعة. She tells her husband now, because the one she won't be done with, right? But she's like, I don't want to worry about khula. I don't want to worry about talaq. I don't worry about divorce. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to slip him some milk. And after he not going to know. And after he drinks the milk, then I'm going to inform him, listen, I'm no longer permissible for you, because now you're my son from suckling. So obviously, the suckling of one who was big, then it doesn't take any effect. Because if it did, this woman will slip her husband this milk. Now he becomes her son. And we know that no, that doesn't doesn't work like that. Okay. In any event, the Shaykh, he mentions some things that we benefit from this particular hadith. He says, "Mimma yustafadu min al-hadith," that which we benefit from this particular hadith, kamalu sharia, the completion and the perfection of our legislation, our sharia. Na'am. واشتمالها على قواعد كلية عامة, and that it encompasses, it incorporates general principles that will cover the vast masses of society. كما جاء في هذا الحديث, like it comes in the hadith, is a very clear principle. Short words, very clear principles, and the implications of those words are far-reaching. Okay, so this is an example to show you the completeness and perfection of our legislation, of our way of life that Allah Ta'ala, He has sent down unto us. وأن كل امرأة يعني حرمت من النسب يحرم ما يماثلها من الرضاعة, and that every woman who is impermissible to marry them due to blood relation, then also the like of it will be impermissible due to suckling. Due to suckling. In any event, this is something that is very important for us to know, something that is very important to learn about and to consider implementing, especially those Muslims living in non-Muslim countries who may come from families who they are the only Muslim in their family, or those who have been ostracized and who have been disowned by their families. This here could solve many of the problems of life that will result from a person being abandoned by their family. Wallahu a'la wa a'lam. Until next time we meet, Bithnillahi ta'ala, istawdi'ukum Allah. We will entrust you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we will see you next time. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.